this is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Water.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the Fishies.
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan De Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Culture that's got around Dylan De Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan.
Light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan De Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, and we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the Fishies, any of the Piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're off.
First lap? Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down to the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, night, but just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't completed it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if we get a good run. Dodds just absolutely think about it. It's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are watching from, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sim Racing World TV for the Warren & Brown Tools IMSA Shadow Series here for round number 5 out at Watkins Glen. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Munro, joining alongside me, making his return to SRW, Toddy Thornburn. Toddy, welcome back to SRW number 1. Welcome into the absolute multi-class madness that is IMSA Shadow Series. I know you like to get a bit excited. It's going to be awesome, mate. Watkins Glen always delivers some fantastic racing. How pumped are you to see these boys have a crack tonight?
Oh, mate, I am so pumped to be back, first off. Just going to be so awesome. And around Watkins Glen to come back on this is going to be absolute madness and awesomeness. I'm so excited about this. So please forgive me if I get a touch too excited tonight, guys.
It's all right, mate. I love the excitement. Absolutely draws the energy in. Often use terminology that the pressure gauge is just starting to crack, or we're already bringing some pressure, ladies and gentlemen. It's already a tight championship between both classes of cars for the GTPs and for the GTDs as well. Obviously, it's the battle between Dyson and Faulkner in the GTD cars, and then up for the GTPs. It's kind of a free-for-all based on how many different winners we've had this season, including Scotty Hasler, Brendan Grotch, Stefan McCartan making his return into the series after a couple of weeks away. Simon Mazzomo, who is not here quite just yet tonight. I don't believe he is going to be here, if I recall. He was actually going to be using this as his drop round. So it is quite tight up the front for the championship. And, well, we know how much intensity and we know how much chaos Watkins Glen can bring, especially this layout here tonight, Todd. I mean, that bus stop, I hope the drivers have brought their Nikes, because if they haven't, the PSOs are going to be chucking them into the wall and off the bus. So...
especially that ground clearance in the LMPs is going to be pretty nuts, mate. There's going to be some damage and some mayhem there, definitely. You misjudged that just a touch, you're in a world of hurt.
For sure. And that's kind of what these drivers are having to be contesting with this season, is dealing with those issues. And I think, this track, they're no stranger to it. They've been here before. But they just need to remember to take it a bit cautiously, because we have seen in the past some issues come up through that bus stop, as I mentioned, and through other certain parts of the track too. And I think the kind of the long right at the toe of the boot, big area of circuit.
I think what we've just seen on screen as well, just that exit of that hairpin there is people can get real sketchy on the exit there. You can get really excited if you're in the lead as well. We need to watch out for that exit, because people get a bit sketchy, and where we're seeing right now as well, just on that exit as well. So there's quite a few, what would we say, gnarly curbs to be had.
Yeah, it's almost like you're going to be grinding your car around here, just like that Team WRT car did out at the cutting at Bathurst during the 12-hour, but I don't think it's going to be to that extent here tonight. But I have seen a couple of Houdini moments happen at this track, whether it's good or it's bad, namely up here through the top of the S's. There's a bit of a door to the shadow run, we'll call it, over the catch fence. I have seen a couple of cars jump up there before and just end up in no man's land. So
I've found McCropper a couple of times in officials in the GT4, and just it sends you into space if you hit it wrong.
So we only got a couple seconds left of the practice session. We'll then get into our half an hour of qualifying here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, it is the classic structure. First 15 minutes go to the GTD. Second 15 minutes go to the prototype class. So it's all going to be on offer for us here tonight. Then we go racing around this wonderful circuit. Of course, it's known in IMSA land as the Watkins Glen 6 hours. 6 hours of the Glen as well. And it offers up a heap of challenges. Obviously, it's an iRacing official event as well, Toddy. So a lot of these drivers should have some history of racing around here. I mean, it's in nearly every season of officials, whether it's for GTs, even the supercars come here. There's a whole heap of different car classes that race around this track, or at least a variant of it. So they should have some idea of what to do around here, right?
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, every car around this track performs so differently. those curbs, the way you hit them and stuff like that. You go from, if you're used to driving a GT4 car around here and then you go into a GT3 car, it's totally different. And then that from going to a GT3 car to an LMP car, like, it's totally different ball game as well, you know. So these guys are going to have a definitely have their work cut out for themselves today, because there's a lot of parts of this track you can definitely get overexcited. That we could see some definite carnage, but some people making some simple mistakes that we don't think they probably should or could possibly.
Yeah, it's kind of a track that it seems simple when you come here, but sometimes that simplicity can actually lead to struggle. You know, I've seen in some places in one way or another, some people deal better with something that's more complicated. They find a way through it, where simplicity kind of makes them overthink it a little bit, and that can then lead to those issues happening. One place I think we're going to have to look out for here tonight, we're coming up to it, it's the right-hander up here. That bump right on the apex is what they're going to have to be careful
brutal,
of.
Isn't it?
It is. We've seen it catch people out in the past, namely in F3s, but even in the IMSA series as well last season, caught quite a few people out. They backed it into the wall on exit, and it just leads to problems. So they're really going to have to be careful about that tonight, but also they're going to have to be careful about coming into the pit lane. Now, we thought that the Long Beach pit lane was going to be an issue. It was somewhat of an issue. We did have a track jam right at pit entry, but it's going to be up to the drivers tonight to let people know when they're coming in, so some other drivers don't get caught out by it as well, because there has been some pile-ups in the past right on the apex of that final corner. So it's all going to come down to a bit of self-preservation, I think we'll say, Toddy, for the drivers to be smart and to plan ahead for it as well.
Yes, most definitely. And there's, like, as you were saying that as well, that very last corner is quite critical as well. If you don't hit that quite right, because it's almost like a subtle kind of lift off, a touch of brake, subtle lift off that very final corner to come down that straight. If you don't nail that exit, you will lose at least 2-3 places if you don't nail that properly.
Well, I mean, even across other series in SRW, we've spoken about maximizing your corner exits, maximizing your apex, maximizing your entry speed. I think these types of cars, especially maximizing that corner exit, is imperative to not only getting a good lap time in qualifying, but being competitive in the race, because it means you're going to be able to stick with your opponent who's ahead of you, get into their toe, get a nice pull down the straight, and hopefully get an opportunity for an overtake. Or you can take advantage of them mucking up that exit, and you'll have the pace then down the straight or down towards the next corner to, again, open up opportunities for yourself for overtakes. It can be difficult around here, Toddy, but it can also be done if you're willing to push it.
Yeah, 100%. So they're going to definitely be mindful in braking zones of that extra toe if they're actually in the toe. Also, and a lot of the times, just adding to what you were saying as well, a lot of these cars are mid-engine rear-wheel drive as well. So that mid-corner speed is imperative to be able to get that corner exit as well. So it's about that keeping that toe in that play, and almost like that kind of chess game of motorsport almost, you know. It's really exciting.
Well, one thing I have noticed just looking at our timing tower, all the GTD entries here tonight are all middle rear engine cars. We've got no front engine cars. We've got no Mercs. We've got no BMWs.
Ooh.
Maybe the mid to rear engine is the meta for Watkins Glen. I do know of one car change has happened tonight, that being Greg Leakey's move from the Merc into the Lamborghini, which we both questioned.
It's a bold move, isn't it?
It's bold. It is real bold. It's like pulling a Sharpie out when you want a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where the genius in fact lies. You know, he said, well, I'm going to be up the back anyway. Why not have a punt on a different kind of car and experience a different kind of car? You have to put it to him. It's going to give him time in a rear engine car. He's then going to learn the strategies around and the kind of the abilities that you need to control a rear or mid engine car. This is throwing him in at the deep end. So it could actually be a real good learning curve for him, for if he ever wants to move on to the Porsche or the Ferrari, which can sometimes just be the easier way of learning.
Yes, most definitely. You know, because especially with the Ferrari, you know, a lot of people will know, and a lot of people won't know. You know, you've got the dual traction control with the Ferraris a lot of the time and stuff like that. So it's a kind of a bit of a different beast. You know, the Lamborghini's still built, as all Lamborghinis in tradition are, built to basically kill you. try to kill you. Basically, that's the whole bull, and that's what they've always been around. Yes, it made it a GT3 car, but that thing is an absolute beast. But everybody that can handle it and actually really nail driving this car is super fast.
Well, we do know we have got at least one other competitor who has competed in the Lamborghini this season, that being Sean Benici, the only American competitor in the field. So Greggy now joins him in that run of trying to tame the bull around a circuit.
Oh.
He's the only one out there tonight. Benici isn't here. But, again, maybe that's the secret. Maybe when we get to a track like Spa or a track like the Nürburgring, maybe this thing's actually going to be stronger than we think. I mean, I've done 18 of 24 hours of Spa in this car. Eventually, after a couple of hits, it does give up on you, and that's why it's only 18 of 24 hours. But when it turns on, it is incredible to drive, and you feel like you are going at a rapid pace around a circuit. So it's rewarding, but it takes a lot to get it to that grip level and get it to that rewarding point as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And you have to have, to coin a phrase, balls of steel to drive this car, to be honest. Because of that feeling of being so close to the ground, you feel like you're going faster than Lamborghini, and there's a little bit of a difference in that, even in the sim, it feels like you've got a bit more G-force and a lot more travel in the body and that sort of stuff. So it becomes a totally, as you say, taming the bull. It really just wants to get away on you. But if you can really tame the bull, then yeah, it's a very, very satisfying car.
Well, hopefully for Greg Leake's sake tonight, he does not have a bounding and raging and bucking bull under his bum out there on track. Lewis Greathead coming out of the pits at the moment. His current best lap time is the best lap time of the session. He said it just before. It's a 1:43.99. So he is, in fact, the fastest car on track. Only other car to do a 43 is Andrew Dyson. It's reading on our timing ends as 1:44 dead. But he is, in fact, just below that at a 1:43.997. So it is super, super tight between those boys. We have got a couple of chats in the chat already. Two of them from Sheafy, who's been away for a couple of weeks, but he will be returning.
Oh, Sheafy!
He will be he will be returning to the Combox, I believe, next week, if not the week after. Saying, good days, boys. Hope all of you are having fun. Good to see Toddy back in the box. And also saying, I remember the last time Doug was out here, he ended up flipping his car in the second last corner. I remember that as well, Sheafy. It was absolutely chaotic.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, so, we
what
had
was
some
he in? What car was he in?
GTP.
Sorry.
He was in an Acura. No, it's all right. He was in an Acura GTP car. Yeah.
That must have been spectacular.
It was. It was surely a sight to see, I must say. And, with a lot of prototypes out there tonight, I'm seeing at least, I think, 12, if not more. And Dougie is out there. We could see some more carnage, as we like to say.
Carnage, I like
on
it.
offer.
I
So,
like it.
There's Eau Rouge, we have Carnage. So,
Carnage.
Also, Jesse McManaman in the chat saying go the Froggies. So, a couple of Froggies are out there at the moment here in the GTDs. Of course, Benjamin Brook. He is now in the Fez. I think he has changed from the Merc to the Fez. I believe that is another car change that has happened. John O'Kiley still in the Porsche, so he's still wanting to go strong out there. And then, not 100% sure if there are any others. I know that we don't have Harry Dodds this week, as he's not in the session. So he had a bit of a poor time out at Le Mans. It was lap 1, and he went off just before the straight down towards the Porsche curves, and that was race over for him. So he was super excited for it, but unfortunately put it in the wall and decided not to go back out on track. So it was unfortunate for him, but we are just past, coming up to the 3/4 mark here of the GTD portion of the session. 9 minutes into the session. They get to go until the 15-minute mark, and then if they're on a lap by the time 15 minutes is up, they can finish that lap, but they must come in afterwards, as the GTPs will be going out on track once we get to 15 minutes, and they get the final half of the session. I've got a couple more comments here. Sean Benici saying, let's go Froggies. So he's given some love there to his teammates.
What the love? Frog Juice Leap Racing, is it still?
Frog Leap Juiced Racing.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it was close enough, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's close enough, sorry.
It's a tongue twister as it is already, so don't worry about that. But what we can see, though, is speaking of teams, we can see the DPR boys working together at the moment. Dyson, Ireland, and Jones. So the Simrinks cars will be working together on this next lap, I reckon. This will be the final 2 runs for them. Sheevy's also said in the chat, I'm going to head off and enjoy my dinner, lads. Enjoy the on scene for the weekend. Good luck for all tonight. So we're going to see how we go. Sean saying I'm missing this week. as well, just getting off work. Unfortunate, Sean, but hopefully we can see you back again next week, going head-to-head with another Lamborghini driver in Greg Leake, who's just changed cars. So DPR boys are on a lap now, Toddy. We'll see how they do across this. Greg Barber coming out of the pits. No, it's not. It's Brooke coming out of the pits behind them. So I reckon they're all going to be trying to work together, get some tow on board. I think Dyson maybe just trying to pull them forward up the order to bring some battle here to the Vermilion cars out there.
Very nicely done as well. Those cars are looking very nice with that, those nice liveries. I haven't been around this series for a while, and it's great to see that we've got the IMSA in the SRW and all the rest of it. Now it's great to see this amazing racing. Actually, these guys are actually pulling some pretty good racing. I thought we might have seen a bit of sandbagging early, but doesn't seem like it. Everyone's just straight into it, warming up. Let's go. I thought, with a 30-minute qualifying, I thought they'd be kind of sandbagging a bit, but, the team tactics are coming out straight away, so good to see.
Well, I think what's also too important to remember is, even though it's 30 minutes, they don't get the 30 minutes. They only get the first 15, and then the second 15 goes to the prototype. So on paper, it's like, yeah, they got 30 minutes set a lap. It's like, no, they don't. They only have 15, so it is still a rush to get a time in, and that's why they're rushing now to try and get those times in, because they're only going to have, I would say, 1 if not 2 more laps left when they actually cross the line, being that there will be 3 minutes until the end of their portion of the session. So it's going to be tight for them.
Boys.
No pressure, no pressure at all. But I would say they're only going to try and attempt 1 more. I would hazard that guess. Dyson has gone fastest in the second to last and last sector, although I don't know if it'll be an ultra competitive time, being the first couple were as good, if not worse, than his initial lap time. He has pulled it up. That may be the end of his qualifying session. His teammate Chris Island continues
What a slingshot, though. What a slingshot. That was mastery. That was beautiful.
It was. He's released him from the shackles of sitting in behind.
He managed to take note. Come on, that's how you drive your teammates around the track. Let's go.
So we'll see.
That was massive.
It was. It didn't do Chris any favours, though, in the first sector. He's still gone only as fast, if not worse, in his first sector. So it hasn't necessarily done him any better. Although
Chris Island's a battler. Hey, even if Chris Island's a battler, and I saw him from the beginning and stuff like that. But he's I must say, just inside facts. He always tries to qualify as hard as he can. He's not always the best qualifier, but this guy can race like an absolute legend. He's a battler like the most, man. He'll rub doors, he'll all the rest of it. He's always respectful, and he's awesome to race beside. So, good things to see from this guy. What he might not be able to get in qualifying, look out for him in race, because he'll definitely, if he can make it in, if he can stay in 4th right now, and for the start of the race, he'll definitely make it onto the podium, I think. So look out for that, man.
Well, it's going to be a tight battle up the top for sure. Both Greathead and Faulkner have shown that they've had the pace the last couple of weeks. Both of them have finished P1 and 2 in the last 2 races. Greathead's only been in the series for 2 races, and that's going to be lap over for Ireland, who gets it into the wall off the final corner, and that's qualifying over for him. Doesn't matter if he gets... he's not going to be able to get another lap in. He's not going to be able to cross the timing line prior to the end of the 15 minutes. Dyson's out there. He's going to have 1 more crack. But we know Ireland's got pace. We know Barber's got pace. And we know Jones has got pace, as well as Faulkner and Greathead. So this top 6 battle, if they can keep it clean and they can all kind of stay around together, that could be an absolutely incredible battle for not only the podium, but for the win as well tonight, Toddy. I mean, they can offer so much for us out on track.
Oh, 100%. And if you just saw that slingshot, we're in for some good racing with these guys working together as well. Because you've got the crisscross boys on track as well. You got a bunch of these guys all over track. These guys are very, very good. And these guys have been working together for years. And I mean years. So... it's going to be great to see the racing, see how close this is going to be, and especially around here, there's plenty of places to pass, and there's plenty of inappropriate places to pass, shall we say?
Yeah, we'll say questionable. They are questionable places to go for an overtake.
Yeah, interesting places.
Yeah. really makes you ponder why they go for it at certain spots, doesn't it? But Joshua Houghton, he's done 2 faster sectors, personal faster sectors in the first 2. He's then either gone as good or worse in his middle sector. Coming up to the end of his lap now, this will be his final attempt as the GTPs are just coming out on track. So we'll see what Josh can do, whether he can jump into the top 5. Big slide there through the second to last corner. Great car control from him.
It definitely is to his advantage though. That was full hanging it out. That was full send. Wow, he licked a stamp on that one. That was good. That was nice to watch. Probably slowed him down there a bit, but he looked like he took it to his advantage. So well done.
So he wasn't quite close enough in the end there, just to better his time. So that will be our provisional result for the GTDs. Great Head currently on pole. So barring any last-minute penalties, that will be how they line up. You can see them on the side of the screen. 11 cars out there. Hodgkinson has made it into the session, although he will not be able to set a lap time. So now it is time for the prototypes. Only 2 new drivers out there tonight for the prototypes, Toddy, one of them being Keegan Caldwell. He did quite well the other night in the F3s. He's finally at a high enough license that he can actually race them in the officials. I still find it interesting that he's going to throw himself in at the deep end and drive the prototypes, even though he's not able to drive them in an official.
That's a big jump.
It is. It's a big jump. Another one is, well, he's known as colloquially the most famous man in the GR86 field. That being the real life one, it is Luke Crum. He has actually got quite a fan base. Does the mechanic from the former Aussie race driver? Not Aussie race driver. It's it was like the challenge that we did here. It was like the Logitech G challenge to find new drivers, but it was like Aussie Driver Search. He was the Aussie Driver Search mechanic for those cars. And he has got his own little fan club known as the Crumb Dog Millionaires.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
I am a member of that club. I'm good friends with Crummy, and he loves to have a good laugh about it. But yeah, so he is the most famous man in that field. We'll see if he has the pace tonight to do well in the prototype. He's been racing in the supercar this season. Done fairly well. I mean, he hasn't really had too many issues. And he has raced these cars before, so we'll see how he does. Also, that 24-hour spa that we only lasted 18 hours, he was in the car with me as well. So he's used to this sort of driving. Scotty Hasler, he's on for an absolutely rapid time at the moment, Toddy. 2 purples in the first 2, and then a green.
Come on.
So this could be impressive here from the Frog Leap Juice Racing driver, who has been having quite a fantastic run in this championship so far.
He's looking good, and these like, for the people that have never driven these cars, these GTD cars, they are just absolutely insanely hard to drive. You know, there's a lot you have to think about. There's a lot more you have to think about than most cars, etc. And then they are insanely fast, so it takes a lot of balls to be able to even drive them at good pace around a track. And these guys make it look really easy. They're very, very smooth. Yeah, I don't know how they do it, especially people like, you know, the Gowans of the world and that sort of stuff. That makes them, that bloke's just an old master behind the wheel, you know, but it comes down to the calmness, it comes down to their settledness, and it comes down to that experience, you know. And just, you know, experience is insurmountable, really, when it comes down to it all.
Well, he's kind of the classic measuring stick of a jack of all trades, isn't he? He races in just about anything, and he's still competitive in just about anything as well.
Yeah, and we were introduced to him when it was we used to do the SR8s radicals. He's like, oh no, I just love these cars, and this is basically all I race. And we were just like, you know, you keep on winning all these races. Do you think you should race some other cars? And he was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll give him a hoon. And then he just jumps in different cars and just, you know, just absolutely nailed it. So, you know, good on him, mate. It's so good. Absolutely brilliant to see. You know, I've been away for a few seasons now, and but it's great to see a lot of old names still in there, and a lot of names that have been here as stalwarts and still doing well, and a lot of new names as well, and a bunch of new teams as well, which is really exciting also.
So, Toddy, if my math is correct, does that mean that I was the producer that actually replaced you when you left?
Yes.
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
so I did the first 5 seasons at SRW, yeah, and then I was like, yeah, I had a 1-year-old at the time, so I was like, yeah, it's a bit much. Let's yeah. So it was a bit much. I was doing 5 nights a week, I think, and I was co-hosting and then producing and then hosting sometimes as well. So, you know, becomes a lot of work, but so much fun, you know, because a lot of the time as a commentator or producing and stuff like that, it's exciting, just as exciting for us commentating or producing as it is for you guys to watch as well, you know. So you kind of run on a bit of adrenaline, don't you? You know, you kind of look at it and you go, oh yeah, this is awesome, man. You know, I wish I was in the car again. And I kind of wanted to take some time off so I could actually spend some time racing and get a bit better at racing again as well. So, which I did all right 2 weeks ago in the GR86. So I'm happy with that. Happy with my race fix, but back into the producing and just, you know, just being a backup with comms and all the rest of it. It's just so awesome to be part of this awesome racing.
Yeah, I think there's so much on offer for us. I mean, not just with this series, but with all the other series that SRW offers us as well, including the supercars, the F3s, the Formula Vs, the 86s, and with possibilities of more series coming in the future. There's honestly going to be so much content, but also so much racing on offer for whatever you guys want to get your fix out of for SRW. I mean, there's going to be opportunities to drive. There's going to be opportunities for you guys to watch the racing, obviously, and it's only going to grow more and more this year. I know that that's what Steve wants. He wants to push this to be one of the bigger leagues in Australia, and the first step to going there is producing some good racing, but also producing some high quality broadcasts as well for everyone. And that's what our goal is to bring you the best that we can. If we're not bringing you the best that we can, then we're failing at what we're doing. So that's kind of the mindset that we've currently got. A fellow Hamish is in the chat. Hello, Hamish Cleland. It's weird to say my own name for other people. I don't know if you feel the same way, Toddy, but it's weird to me to say other people's
100%.
names.
Because you don't meet many Hamishes.
Yeah.
I bet you don't meet many Hamishes. I don't meet many Todds. So it's just like, oh, hang on, what? That sounds weird. Yeah.
Saying Grotch will do well here. He loves this track, and then he's picking a Froggy 1 and 2 here tonight. We'll have to wait and see. The lap times are saying that you could be correct. I mean, Grotch has done a 27.7 already. The closest time to him is his teammate Hasler with a 28.3. So there's a bit of pace to be found in that car. 6/10 in fact to get onto pole. I know he was strong here last time, and he could have maybe gone one strength better this time by as well. So I'll have to wait and see how he does. Hasler's on for an absolutely mega run here down towards the line. He's at a purple and 2 greens. He gets into the 27s. It's not good enough for pole just yet, Toddy, but he's only 2/10 off at this stage in time.
It's insane. It's just like it's almost like every time I watch a race, it's, you know, the Juice Boys just coming out. It's just like, I don't know where they find these guys. It just must find just they have a secret gold mine of races, and then every dude that comes out and has their colours on just seems to be crazy fast. As I say that, oh, do the 360. Oh,
and that right there could be a preview of what we see tonight. It's obvious that Hasler left that Mikey in the pits, as I said, and forgot his bus pass on that one because he's just been booted off at the next stop. But one thing I will say...
That's what we were talking about earlier, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. Those bumps, and especially in these LP cars, it's going to be really, really, really hard. Sorry, I should say GTP cars. Apologies. It's the prototype cars, you know, and as they're so low to the ground, but then they have the ground control as well, ground effects, I should say, which, you know, these cars I'm sure is a reason why Formula 1 has moved towards the ground effects cars back, you know, because it was what F1 banned them back in the 80s, I think it was. So
well, I recall back in I think it was 2009 when Braun did very well. They were one of the first, was it Braun or was it the Red Bull? It was either the 2009 Braun or the 2010 Red Bull that had the double diffuser, and it gave them a lot more ground effect than the other cars, and that's why it was so dominant. And then eventually I think they banned it, or they ended up allowing other teams to do it, but they had to make it a kind of a standard thing. Phil Vella saying the downforce in these sucks. Yeah, it also really depends on your setup and what car you're using as well, I find.
And it's about how much courage you have to really nail it out of corner exits and stuff like that, because the more you push these cars, these prototypes, the more downforce you get, which sounds counterintuitive, but that's what racing drivers have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
You know, the harder you push, the more you can push, which sounds great, but yeah. Right?
Yeah, I guess it's the same for an open wheeler. The more more you push, the more grip you get. I'm not sure if these are like that. That's a massive moment for Hasler once again.
Come on, that was
I
a
know.
beautiful 360.
It was
We've gotta give him
absolutely
credit for that.
phenomenal. That was a 10 out of 10 right there. It was a stellar dad joke. Don't worry about that, Phil. We haven't missed that one. Adam Simpson, he's done quite well for himself at the moment. P7 in session. The young Guppy, the young fella Ty Delaney, 14 years of age is this kid. Or he might be 15 now. I'm not sure. I can't remember when his birthday is, I'm going to be honest. But he is absolutely rapid for such a young fella, and I'd hate to think how quick he's going to be when he's at the age of, around his dad or anyone else in Fishy as well, because he's already at a rapid pace at the moment.
Well, 100%, but he's got a very wise head on track as well. I don't know whether that's just his dad and stuff like that, but he just seems to have just a natural ability as well, racing beside him in different series and stuff like that. You can definitely tell, and even when he first came on the scene and he was in the V8, and I was like, how the hell is this 14-year-old being able to deal with no traction control, no ABS, all this other stuff, and he was up there just punching up with his dad, punching out with his dad, trying to beat his dad and stuff, and we were all just like, how, wow, and that's just what it comes down to, and that's what they talk about a lot in sport and motorsport a lot, is just that natural talent and that natural feeling, I suppose it is, hey.
Yeah, I think, I know the last couple of weeks as well, we've titled it, actually kind of since starting, he's been having character building races. And they are, where he's had the pace to do well, he's just kind of missed out because he's either made a mistake or, he hasn't quite calculated well enough on something. And it's not a poor effort by him, because obviously he's made the effort to be in the race and to give it a good crack. But it's building up his character, it's building up his regimen as a driver, to be more used to these scenarios and to be more used to the car and to learn more about it as well. And that's kind of the mentality that more drivers need to bring into racing. Just because you make a mistake or stuff up somewhat, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's character building. It's making you stronger for future.
Exactly. So much more from your mistakes than you do from your victories and all that sort of stuff, because the easy things in life, it's just easy, so you don't put any more effort into it, etc. If you make those mistakes and you do crash your car, and that's how I've learned a lot with racing as well. I'm like, wow, that was a stupid mistake, and I did bad, apologize for it, yep, cool. And sometimes you think you're in the right, but you're completely in the wrong. But going through those things, you make sure in your mind you don't do it again.
Phil saying people anchor on results too much. Exactly right. They anchor on, I need to get to this position to improve. Well, you don't. You just need to learn more in one race than you would in the last, or you need to learn one more thing as you go along. I was saying would rather a race to learn than win. Yeah, and and there's still a lot to be learned for anybody who's racing. Doesn't matter what level they're at. You can still learn things out there, not just about the car or about the track, but even about yourself as a driver. And you can use that to improve on your skills and to push on forward to do better next time out.
Oh, 100%, and that's the thing, it's all about that self-improvement, and that's it's a pretty solo sport when you actually pretty much look at it, unless you're in enduros, but you're only ever in the car by yourself, aren't you? So, your only biggest limiter is yourself and how you drive that car and how you think, how much limits you put on yourself. Oh, we've had a bit of a that was a very nice, pretty livery. Very messed up at that point there.
Yeah,
but
that was Keegan Caldwell off the track, and he's another driver I think who's had a lot of character building experience in the past. But I think as well he can learn from making some certain decisions by what he picks to drive in. Now, do I think it's wrong of Keegan to be racing in a GTP car? Not necessarily. Would I think it's smarter for him to drive in a GT car, get more experience in this style of racing, and then move further up the ladder towards the GTP car? Yes, I do, because I think he'll actually learn more from that and he'll get better for it instead of diving in at the deep end. It's like it's like diving in at the deep end of a pool when you don't know how to swim, or when your swimming's not that good. Like you can probably get out of it.
Your floaties, but then as soon as you jump at the deep end, you realize you don't have your floaties, and yeah, and that could be the moment, and. I've been in the car before and in LMP cars, and then thought I might be able to do a bit of a stint and all the rest of it. Yeah, I won't go into the story, but yeah, it ended up in a bit of a disaster. So, but anyway, you make silly mistakes and things happen. When you're kind of not used to the car like other people. But all strength to him if he can nail it and absolutely own this and jump that. But it's always a harder thing going backwards than it to learn another car after you've gone to this level with a prototype car, I suppose. So
Yeah,
who knows?
And I think it's okay to jump in at the deep end sometimes, but again, it's a measured risk that you're taking, right? And it's not necessarily that we're picking on Keegan. He is the example that we have, right? If we had another driver for a similar example, you can make the same argument. So I think, again, it's about figuring out where you want to be placed, but also, again, learning. I've spoken previously about the pathways that iRacing offers for you to learn types of cars. They've got so many, and there's so many to learn prototype driving. You can go from a GT4 or even an 8.6 into a GT4, into a GT3, into an LMP3, LMP2, and then up to the top class prototypes. And you can do that as you go up your licenses. And by the time you get into A-class, you're used to driving a prototype, but now it's the other level of dealing with hybrid or anything else that it might have in it that is different to what you were used to before. So,
But that said, we never know. You might just be like a real big, closet fan of the cars and race that same sort of style cars and different titles and all the rest of it. And that might be like his base roots of where he came from. We never know. He's just leaving a bit of mystery there. Maybe we'll see how he performs. Who knows?
Well, we'll see if he can produce some magic for us here tonight out at Watkins Glen. It's, as we mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to offer us so many different challenges. We're coming up to the end of qualifying. We're past the half an hour mark. There was only one car out on track who could finish their times. It was Brad Anderson. And he struggled in the past as well as Keegan. It'd be interesting to see how he can progress throughout the season or even in future seasons as well. And then it kind of harkens back to the conversation I had last week with Pricey of if we were to ever introduce kind of a feeder series, having the pilot challenge of having GT4s and LMP3s together, maybe Keegan and Brad could be one of the first two candidates just because they're a bit lower on the license end and they can use that to get the experience in those cars. And then when they can come into this series, because they're racing guys who are uber fast in these types of cars, they're going to be better suited for it and they're going to have a better chance at doing well. So we're going to have a full lap under safety car as our warm-up here. We will quickly run through the qualifying results for everybody, and then we'll get on to our starting grid. So this was our qualifying results for the GTD class. It was Lewis Greathead who got into the top of the timing tower. Then it was Dyson and Faulkner making up the top three positions. Island and Barber just missing out on the 3, but they get into the 5. Jones, Houghton, Brook, Kylie, Cochrane, Leake. Were the rest of the cars able to set a time? Hodgson did not get into the session fast enough to do one for the GT class. Then over to the prototype class, the GTPs, it was Brandon Grotch who managed to get the fastest time in that session, a 127.633. Uber impressive, 2.5 tenths ahead of his teammate Scotty Hasler, who finished in P2. We then go down to Davis in 3. McCartan and Gowan's just missing out, but they get in the 5. Delaney, Maguire, Simpson, Crum, and Frame in the 10. Caldwell, King, Newens, and Anderson make up the rest of that grid here tonight. But we will show our starting grid for tonight's race. Brandon Grotch will start at a pole position for Frog Leap Juice Racing. It's a Froggy 1-2 here for the starting grid. They will line up on the very first row. Scotty Hasler will start at a P2 alongside. Ash Davis will then start in behind him. In behind them with Stefan McCartan alongside in P4. Dougie Gowans will then make up the top 5, as I said, with Ty Delaney starting out a P6 alongside him. Troy Maguire will then start at a P7 alongside his fishy teammate Adam Simpson. So it's a fishy 1, 2, 3, and 6, 7th, and 8th. And then we go down to LCR Esports, Luke Crum out of P9. Patrick Frame from Respect the Meatball Racing will make up the top 10. Keegan Caldwell will then start out of P11 ahead of Josh King in P number 12. We then move down to P13 for Shane Newens. Alongside him will be Brad Anderson. We then get into the GTD class. P1 in class, P15 on the road will be Lewis Greathead. Alongside him will be DPR's Andrew Dyson. It'll then be Ben Faulkner from Familiar Motorsports in P17. Alongside him will be Chris Island in P18. Greg Barber and Ryan Jones will then make up the top 20 with Joshua Houghton starting at a P21. Benjamin Brook in P22. John O'Kiley in P23, and then Mark Cochrane in P24 in behind. We'll then move back to Greg Leake and Callan Hodgson to make up the rest of our grid. Big thank you to our race control and safety car driver here tonight in Tyson McAvoy and Thomas Freeman. Thank you for giving up your time and being out there for us, running the much-needed race control. Without them, we cannot go racing cleanly week in and week out. And they offer a service that not many others can for us here in the league. Also, a big shout out just quickly to our series sponsors as well. Warren & Brown Tools, Shannon's Insurance, Shunt Scenery, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Grim Industries, and Motorsport Australia. Thank you for supporting us, supporting Sim Racing World, and for allowing us to go racing week in and week out. So, Toddy, it's going to be a...
Apologies. I was just my IRacing
okay.
was having a little bit of a conniption, so I was
That's
just
all right.
making sure it's coming up, so apologies.
That's all good. So, we're going to get underway shortly. We're on for our warm-up lap now. We could be on here for something absolutely magical. I mean, we've already seen how close the pace has been in qualifying and even in practice a little bit. We know what this track brought us last season, right? It brought us some carnage, brought us a couple of safety cars. Ultimately,
Let's say pain points. It brought us some pain points on the track, yes.
Brought us some pain points, brought us some carnage, but ultimately brought us some absolutely fantastic racing. Will it bring us that again tonight? Well, only time will tell. Watkins Glen, it always delivers when these types of cars go racing around here, especially when you've got this many on the grid. The GTDs have left quite a big gap for us here tonight, so we're going to be having enough time possibly to check both starts. We should be good enough for that. Sean Benici in the chat saying, let's go, boys. Keep them Acuras clean. Well, we'll have to see if they've got the V-Power and the smarts to keep it up the front here tonight. Hopefully they don't over-rev those engines. We need to...
Very smart putting a good gap between these two cars.
Yeah.
On this track especially, because otherwise it would just be like the Bathurst 12 hour a couple of weekends ago, right? Wow,
Yeah.
carnage. That was super carnage.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
It was. Also, if anyone's out there, and I know there's a good couple of members of the iRacing Australia community who's good at making memes. If you want to get a clip of those Acuras running laps, if you could just put like full noise V-Power Honda Civic motor sounds over that, I will laugh and I will love it. No, I will put it on stream next week if we can get that. But it's there's going to be a heap of challenges on hand. How the cards been dealt for tonight's proceedings? Have they got a full house or have they got nothing but air in front of them? I'll have to wait and see. Hasler and Grotch, I think they're going to have to work together here tonight, Toddy, to just get the benefits of starting on that front row of the grid, and being able to, as I mentioned, take advantage of it, being able to just do their best. That's all they can do.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
They're going to have to work together. I mean, they got fast drivers behind them in Davis, McCartan, Delaney, Gowan, Simpson, Maguire, Crummy even as well. They're all going to be hounding them off the start here. So it's all going to be about keeping it clean, keeping it mean, and working together.
Don't get too excited. You got cold tyres around Watkins Glen in a prototype car, boys. Just be calm, please. Just one first lap of just being calm. You know that every time about Watkins Glen, the first corner is always carnage. Just please, cold tyres, lap one.
Well, we are green, lights are out, and it is go for the prototype class here tonight. It's been a great run down to turn one. All the cars looking nice and nimble as they come on through. We'll head up into the blimp. See how they're all going. There's already a car wide. It's Doug Gowans into the wall already.
Oh,
and that could be an early safety car.
Was that by himself, or was that all? Was that a bit of rubbing, as I was just saying? Everyone must be calm around first turn one. Let's see if the GTD car can do better. Woo.
Well, we will get a replay of Mr. Gowan's race start when we get a chance. The GTDs have been released. McCartan's gone off ahead of them as well. We'll get that up on screen too. as they come through turn 1. Hopefully it's a bit more of a controlled start from them.
We can only hope. Let's go.
Yeah, we can only hope. They look pretty clean at the moment. There's already been contact behind with Faulkner and Ireland. There's a big shot out at the S's. And, well, you know, we said, is there going to be a safety car? I think there might be, Toddy, off the back of this first lap.
Did I? That's not really a nice welcome back to my commentating, is it? Really?
No.
Just cursing the commentator straight up. It was like, just be cold tyres, boys. Be experienced. Lap 1, turn 1. Yeah, everyone just rules itself on turn 1. Oh, no. Sorry, everyone. I'm not taking blame for it, but you know.
So there's been quite a few accidents here early on in proceedings. I do believe the safety car will be out on track momentarily because we have got cars parked up on the racing line. We'll get some replays happening for the incidents that have happened on hand. First up was Dougie Gowans at turn number 1. This is what happened to him. So we can see him just kind of in the middle of the road. It's 3 wide through the corner. He's turned in. Oh, and there's just been some contact made early on, and that's what shunted him into the wall.
And these things are so light, and they've got so much downforce. As soon as you kind of break that lock, that kind of ground lock almost, isn't it? It's like ground force lock, and then it just kind of sends it the complete wrong way. Wow. And then we're talking about those curbs again. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. They are brutal. They don't look that big on screen, guys. But, man, when you're in that car, especially in these cars, they're so low to the ground, it almost looks like a full curb on your normal street. Or it feels like it, at least.
So this was McCartan's incident. He just got a poor exit out of the bus stop. And then the car, I mean, good on him to hold brakes. And he's kept it parked there. I mean, he can't move. Both rear wheels are off the car. But that was the other incident we had on hand. Then this was the big one from the GTDs. And you can see there it was Ireland into the side of, I think, Faulkner. And that just caused an absolute pile-up up through the blind apex at the top of the hill. This is on board here with Greg Leake. And look at this. He was just trying to stop it. Had nowhere to go. And all hell's broken loose early on in proceedings.
He always seems to get a bit of bad luck sometimes. So, whoa, that looks like a pretty hard car to drive there. Anyway, we got back to the prototype cars. These guys are lapping pretty hard already, even though they got the safety car coming out. What are we gonna see now, you reckon?
Well, I mean,
too early for anything for it to be a strat play at all, right? So we're just gonna try and see people survive.
I mean, perhaps they could come in, put a little splash in, and then, you know, I mean, I guess if you're at the back, you're not really going to lose very much by coming in now, and then, you know, kind of just head, like, so if you're in the position, right, of, say, Patrick Frame, who I think may have been involved in that incident with Doug Gowans, so he may cop a penalty, but if you're in, say, Brad Anderson's situation or Josh King, why not come in? You know, come in, put a splash of fuel in, make your stop a bit shorter later on in the race. You're not going to lose anything because you're going to come back out at the back of the train. You know, why not do that? Why not take advantage, take a bit, you know, take some fuel so you can take a bit less later in the race. You know, you might be able to undercut some of the field.
100%, and then just think about tyre saving then. Yeah, true, that might be a master stroke there. We should probably not let the cat out of the bag for the rest of the guys probably watching the stream and racing at the same time, eh?
I mean, perhaps, but
yeah.
You know what? I'm happy to allow them to steal strategic ideas off of us. I mean, you know what? They're doing us a benefit by watching the stream. The ones who aren't watching us while they're racing, well, that's their own problem, isn't it? For not being here with us right now. So.
Exactly right. I'm just entertained on the other screen, on my other screen, watching Chris Island trying to crab walk this Porsche back to the pits at the moment. He's had a big shunt, and that thing is complete twisted chassis by the look of that thing.
We'll see if we can get that up on screen as well. Hopefully, it's actually lined up properly. It is lined up properly, so we can see there's Island bringing it back in. You need to start up your trading paints.
Oh yes, everything's been a bit strange. My internet's been a bit strange tonight. Apologies, guys. So
you're all right. You're right,
It
mate.
might need a bit of an update. Who knows?
I've forgotten that in the past.
For you.
I've forgotten that in the past as well. Don't worry. So it's not too bad. At least we know it was Chris. Because you did point it out.
That's what kind of confused me as well in the
Yeah.
background. Just saying. It's like, yeah. Anyway, apologies.
We're all good though. We are, and you know what? That's like these little safety car periods, because I reckon we're going to have a few more just off the base of what we've had already.
Hail Marys for me. Oh boy, just a little bit rusty.
You know, we're going to have these good little opportunities just to kind of take a breath, because I was struggling to have a breath for a moment there. There was a lot of stuff happening. But take a breath, reset for a moment here, recalibrate what we're looking at and the kind of scenarios that we got on hand and the landscape of the race as well, Toddy, because it's somewhat changed now. Hasn't really, but it kind of has, because what it's done is it's offered up, as we mentioned, some strategic gambling to happen, right? Where people can come in, take a bit less fuel. You're going to come back out at the end of the train anyway. Might do your benefit later in the race. Patrick Frame's coming in, so this could be a penalty. We're not 100% sure. We'll wait and see if he actually does stop in the box or if he just trundles on through. What I will say is, Toddy, if you want to as well, if you want to listen to the radio in the actual session, you'll be able to then tell us if there are any safety car calls or if there are any penalties applied as well before we actually get them, which would be good too. So he's actually come in and he's actually stopped. So this is actually a pit stop for him, it seems. I would say they wouldn't give him a stop and hold. They'd probably just give him a drive-through if they're going to give him a penalty. So this could be now the master stroke.
See if I can get the race radio up. Hang on 2 seconds.
Because
it's rusty, eh?
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. I mean, normally you would be on the in my position where you don't have the radio on. You have your co-host with the radio on, so you don't normally have to worry about it. It's all right. You've been away for since I've been here. You know,
I don't know how long it's been.
Who can blame you for being a little bit rusty? You know, it's.
Oh, thank you
totally
for being
cool.
understanding.
I am completely understanding. Don't worry. So what Frame's going to have the benefit of now is he's actually going to be allowed back past the GTD cars and back onto the back of the prototype field. So he actually hasn't lost out very much, right? He hasn't really lost anything off the back of this. You know, he's going to get back up on the back of the field. What he's gained is strategic advantage over those cars that he'll be racing around later in the race.
Yeah.
So this is now going to work out for him.
If I was sitting in Atlas seat right now, I'd be sitting there going, oh, maybe this is going to be a tough end to this race. If I was sitting in Hassel seat right now, thinking
knowing what the kind of pace those Frog League cars have, the pace that Frame's had in the past, I don't know if it's going to give him enough of an advantage to battle for the top 3 or for the win. But what it can do is it could give him a benefit of, well, if other people are going to get in incidents throughout this race, maybe I'm able to sneak a top 5. You know, maybe I'm able to get into those upper echelon positions of places, get some, get a good bag of points here. And, again, what has he lost?
100%.
What's he risking? He's not risking anything by doing this. He's either going to not gain anything, which he wouldn't have anyway, or he's going to gain something. So why not take the risk? Why not roll the dice here?
Yeah, 100%. No, I thought, we saw a lot of safety cars at the Bathurst 12 hours, sorry, I should say. And we saw a lot of, but it was an exciting race to watch, and all the rest that we saw, was it Wash It Racing? Came from, 4th to 2nd on that last lap there. And I was thinking halfway through the race, I was like, man, I think this guy's strategy is going to put him on the podium. And it did in the end, just because of the way that they actually did. They outlasted one extra lap and have pitted early, gotten that extra gas and all the rest, and all they've had to think about then is just tyre saving, not fuel and tyre saving. So you simplify it for the driver, make it easier for him to drive, etc., etc. Let him drive the car, right?
We have got somebody who I mentioned earlier to you, a person who likes to bring up food in my race chats. It's my old mate Jack. I was asking if that's the pineapple safety car. One of his big questions that he likes to always ask me, no matter what stream it is if I'm a fan of pineapple on pizza. I am neither for nor against it. I don't really mind. I don't order it for myself.
But yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a bombshell. I'm third generation hospitality. I've been in the kitchen 26 years now. I believe I don't care what you say or anything else like that. I like pineapple on a pizza, and if you want to make whatever food you want to make it, and that's how you want to eat it, then that's the best food you'll ever eat, because that's the way you want to eat it. So if you want to have pineapple on your pizza, have pineapple on your pizza. I'm not one of those arrogant chefs who's going, no, it's not meant to be on there. If it tastes good on there, then why is it not meant to be on there?
Yeah, I
That's
think
the way I look at food.
If you, I completely agree. If you don't like something, don't put it on your food. If you like it, put it on there. Doesn't mean that I have to like it. Doesn't mean that I have to dislike it. So, you know, why can't we all just live in food harmony? You know, where you know,
Right,
if you don't eat something, or if you eat something, why ostracize someone for it? I personally don't eat veal. It's the only meat I don't eat, just because I don't particularly agree with eating veal. But if someone else wants to eat veal, go right ahead. That's your choice. You're allowed to do so.
It's much different when it comes down to veal, though, because veal, there's a difference between like European veal and say New Zealand or say Australian veal. You know, it's actually let outside and all the rest of it. European veal is kept inside. I won't go into it, but yeah, they're kept in the dark basically until they're killed. You know, but that's, you know, but other veal is not. It's the ones that can't be milked anymore from dairy farms, so it's not such a bad thing.
And that's fine. And if someone wants to eat it, then I'm not against it. They're allowed to. I personally just don't. It's my choice. I eat anything else. I still eat. Might be hypocritical. I still eat lamb, but I like lamb, and you know, I'm okay with that. Jack also saying he's pineapple neutral. Well, then I was saying pineapple and jalapenos on a barbecue meat lovers pizza is amazing, apparently. So I'm yet to go for it. But again, I'm neither here or there about it. I don't mind if they're on my pizza. But at the end of our little food talk safety car section now, Toddy, we can get back to the racing. Safety car has pulled away, so the onus will now be on the leader, Brandon Grotch, for when he wants to pull away from the rest of the field. I would almost 100% guarantee him and Hasler are in the comms box together right now in their Discord, and he's going to tell him I'm going green now, so they get the jump on Davis in behind, and we'll have to see if Davis can catch it or not.
100%. It's always it's even when they do say, you know, it's easier when you're in second spot, when you know, you can hear on your team radio and there's the dude in first place and you're in like 6th or 7th place, and they're like, go, can't kind of put you off a bit, so here, big push on the start. Yeah, you're right, I'll let you get back to it.
So it was a good run there from both of them down to the start line. They have managed to pull away from Davis in the background. Dyson has now got into the lead of the GTD class as well. Chucked it up the inside of Greathead at turn 1 and managed to get it going. We've got Jones now putting massive pressure on the Vermilion driver up the front. Houghton's in there too. We'll have to see who can get the advantage down towards the bus stop. Hopefully, unlike the GTPs last time by, these boys remembered their bus pass and we can have a nice clean run through.
I thought they were about to go right through there. Oh, well played, boys. Well played. At least you're respectful between teams and letting it go there. Oh, I've had a big moment from from Mr. Brook in the Juiced Racing. What is even that car at the moment now?
Wow, I mean,
it was the new Ferrari.
Yeah, he was missing his you know, the frog's tongue. Now he's sticking it out, and that's big front-on damage. He's lucky that thing's a rear-engine car, because that could have been an engine failure if it was front-engine. Another comment by Jackos saying, safety car segue brought to you by Hamish's mates. Appreciate it, Jackos. But yeah, it's already going off. We're 15 minutes into the session here. Majority of this race we've been under safety car, but you know, we've still had some good racing nonetheless. Fastest lap of the race last set by Brandon Grotch on this previous lap. 1 minute 30.063. Times will get faster, obviously. That was off the back of a safety car, so I predict they're going to be full pace.
What I tell you about Ty Delaney, he's made it up, 2 spots from that restart now. He's onto the podium. Come on, let's go, boy. That kid is quick. Come on, son.
Oh, he is
Brad
just
Davis
an
behind
absolute.
him as well.
You know, some people say this as a negative. This is a complete positive. He's an absolute freak when it comes to driving, isn't he? Like, he is just, and at such a young
Natural
age.
talent, mate.
Oh,
Natural
yeah.
talent. His dad's got massive natural talent and all the rest of it, but he's definitely, I don't know, that combination of, you know, that combination of the chromosomes or whatever else like that goes into it, the genes that have gone into it with him and his wife, have definitely like accentuated that natural talent. I think it's absolutely amazing, and it must be awesome as a dad. I'm a dad myself as well. Seeing your son out there just absolutely owning it. You know, I know my daughter's from like 5 months old. Her first thing was sat on the sim, put one hand on the wheel and one hand on the sequential shifter. Like, yeah, Dad, yeah. I'm like, yes, come on, you're my girl. You know, those sort of things, especially when he gets to like 14, 15, you know, man, he must be a very, 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 very proud dad right now, you know. And you don't see him on track as much anymore, Blake, old mate Blake. So I think, you know, Dad might be putting a bit more love and a bit more attention and a bit more attention to his son's racing a bit. So I think that's why he's definitely improved so much in his maturity and the way he races and stuff since he first began in, what was it, season 3, I think it was, with SRW. So yeah.
What I think, I know that Blake, he now races in the vets. I think maybe he's just kind of taking a step back from ultra competitive racing. Not that the vets is not ultra competitive, but you know, focusing on things like stops or pro series and stuff like that. So he's also been away for a couple of weeks. He was in Vegas. I'm not going to do what Steve does whenever he mentions that Blake Delaney was in Vegas. Don't worry.
Okay, I don't really want to know. He
does the stereotypical Vegas baby, but in a really interesting impression of saying big ups to Steve. But no, I think
we've had a big moment from Greg Barber at the back of the pack here.
We have to.
I don't know what's happened now. I've just caught it to the back there, and he's just gone a bit. Ooh, okay, is that what's coming to it? Oh, wow. Okay, that's what happened. It looked like a bit of a knock, but I'm not sure if he came sideways and was just because his back kicked out or not. Interesting.
So this was when he came into the lane. He did actually manage to get in there all right as well, so there wasn't anything that happened there. But Barber just having a tough season, a tough night tonight. We have got a comment here from Samantha Davis saying, "Go Ash with much love." So here is Mr. Davis. He's off the podium at the moment, but he's hot on the heels of the youngster, Ty Delaney. Just trying to chase down Ty as best he can. I'm trying to make this sound as racing and as neutral as possible. I don't want it to sound weird at all. But no, I think, you know, Ty has been an absolute prospect for years. Jackson in the chat, he's liking the white touch on the fishy car. I like it too. I think it's actually a big upgrade on what they used to have, which if we look at Troy Maguire, this is what they ran last season. So I think it is actually a big improvement on this livery.
Looks like Benjamin Brooks had a bit of a moment at the back there as well. He's just trying to get it back round to the pits with no front on that.
I don't reckon he's actually come in since that incident.
Oh, he hasn't actually. No, he hasn't. No, sorry.
So he might be staying out there until the pit stop and then coming in, or maybe he was waiting for a safety car. I don't know if he actually realises he's missing the front end or not.
I know he's coming. No, he's not coming in. Okay. So he mustn't have much, you know, he's obviously knocked out his wheel alignment a bit, but it's obviously not affecting his...
Well, if we go into his helmet cam...
He's doing a 47 now, though.
He wouldn't even know. He would not even know from where he's sitting that he's missing the front end. Like, in the helmet cam, you can't even see it. Now, unless his FOV is completely at the dash, there's no way he could know that it's like that.
Yeah, but he has just dropped over, you know, even when he's trailing these guys, he's dropped over a second then a last lap because of that.
We've had an update from Sean, his teammate. Ben has no fast repair after the lap 1 incident.
Ah, I see. Yeah, because everyone got caught up. So that might be the case for everybody also. Ooh, that makes it even more interesting. That's awesome.
Patrick Frames had an incident too. What's he done here? Has he hit the illustrious bump that we mentioned? Oh, no, he's just gone at the back of Newens and wasn't able to pull it up in time. Oh, just into the wall. Oh, that's unfortunate for him. We know that he had the strategy play at hand, but now he's going to have to bring it in and fix that car, and that might be strategy all gone out the window. Oh, and he's not even able to turn it. The wheel's broken.
Oh,
both wheels actually broken. There's no steering on it. So I wonder if he'll actually even be able to get it into the pit box as well.
It's a bit of track mania skills coming out there, I reckon, if he can get it in here.
This is also Adam Simpson. He's had an incident too in the fishy car. He's not even commenting.
No.
Just his observation. Oh, he was lucky there.
Or just skinned the wall there. Hopefully it's not too much damage, but as you know, these things are just built out of a whole lot of carbon fiber and they're pretty fragile, you know, etc. They might look like a complete car, but those prototype cars are just a whole lot of chrome alloy, tube frame and some fiberglass on the outside, and heaps of carbon fiber. Yeah.
We've had another dad joke. This one's actually a reference to a Pixar film from when I was growing up. Don't need headlights because the track is always lit.
Oh, that's awesome! I'm so using that. That's gold. I love
Crumb
that
Dog.
jokes.
Yeah, they're so good. The Crumb Dog, P6 at the moment, Jackals. So good old Sir Crummington doing well at this stage in time. Sir Crummington the third is the another adage that we have given him. Yeah,
so good.
I know. You know, his father actually owns his own plane.
What?
Yep. They live in Bathurst, and his dad actually has his own charter plane.
Oh, so, is that why you've been mentioning him so much? Now it all makes sense.
Yeah. So we've forever been trying to convince him to get his dad to fly us all to Bathurst.
Oh yes, come on, Crummy, let's go. Lord Cruminator the third.
So Greg Barber's had an incident as well. What's he done? Oh no! It was Brooke. He'd had an incident at the top of the hill, and he's just
Brooks
caught him
lost a
out.
bit of control there, and he's lost that, and then into them. Oh wow!
This is what happened here. Brooke up the top of the hill. Oh, and he just lost it. And he's tried to get it going. Fair play to him. He held the brakes. But I don't even know if it would have been worth trying to move the car. He may have been better off just getting the tow, because he's going to come out on a blind corner.
Wow.
So that is that's a fair shame there for Barbs. I mean, he's already having a tough run of it here tonight, and it's only going from bad to worse.
It's one of those tracks, isn't it? It's just like, if you make a civil mistake on this track, it ends up being big consequences. If you know what I mean.
There's a car. Oh, that's Barber that's parked up on the side of the track.
Yeah,
he's actually parked there. So I have to wonder if something. Maybe he's called for a tow and he can't drive it anymore further. McCartan's had an incident as well. Of course, fellow admin for the IMSA Series making a return tonight. Oh, and he's hopping curbs. Tries to do the 360 twist. Does not pay off for him off the back of that. Lucky to not hit the wall, actually, and lose that rear wing. He's able just to keep it going at this stage. But, yeah, not good for Mr. Barber there. Brad Anderson, he's just trying to make his way up here. Trying to survive, we'll say, Toddy, and just trying to do his best at this moment in time. Simpson's had a spin, so it's all starting to go off now, and it's all just starting.
Simpson. Do you reckon that was actually like a lead on from what happened earlier when he skimmed that wall? Because it looked like, you know, sometimes in these cars, in the prototype cars, it doesn't look like that much damage, but all of a sudden, when you're actually in the car, it just really impedes. Sometimes it feels like a normal car, and then you go on an exit, and that sort of stuff happens.
Is he going slow? Was it because we're coming up under safety car and Crummy didn't realise, maybe?
Who knows?
Or Anderson saying he's doing really well, he just wants to have a good run, and that's all you could ask for, really, Laura, is just trying to have a nice, clean run, especially around here from all the carnage you've seen tonight, Toddy. Staying consistent and staying clean is going to do a world of wonders for you to just do the best you can. Safety car is out on track, so we are under safety car once again.
And I think that's a very big statement as well. What you've just said is that what I've found is that you know, my younger racing days, I felt like, oh, I just need to be quicker, quicker, I need to be quicker, I need to be quicker. And then the older you get and the more races you do, you're like, no, I need to be more patient, I need to be more patient, I need to be more patient, take a deep breath. You know, and those little things, and actually taking that point to actually think about this a little bit more on restarts and all those sort of things, and strat and all that sort of stuff, gives you enough time to be able to slow down the world enough that you make much better decisions, or preempt people making stupid decisions on certain corners in front of you, etc. So you can definitely make a lot of positions very easily if you are just smart and knowledgeable, and yes, stay out of the trouble, I suppose. What I was going to say.
Yeah, I think now obviously we talk about track or car knowledge, but race knowledge is also imperative, especially when
100%.
racing these kinds of cars in this type of race. One thing I can say, Laura, being that he's a newbie, as a piece of advice, I'm sure Toddy can agree with me on this. We've touched on it a little bit. Being that he's only a D class, obviously he's not able to race these things in officials just yet. You know, try and say to him, or we'll say to this if he watches this back, Brad. Try and get your license into C class. Start racing in the lower types of prototypes and GT cars, maybe either the GT3 races or even GT4, being that you're a D class. Get some experience in them. Move up into the LMP3, which is about
and more
as fast.
so make some mistakes in them, and that's
right.
what he's saying. Make some mistakes in them. Yeah,
that's it. And then move into the LMP3, which is about as fast as a GT3 car, but it drives differently because obviously it's a prototype. When you get comfortable with that, you get up into B class, move over to the LMP2, and then when you're up in the A class, obviously you can race these things in officials. So, if you want to try and get better in these, you want to try and get more comfortable, go down that road, go down that pathway. Pathways are there in officials for a reason, because they're actually going to help you learn more. And the more comfortable you are in these cars, the more likely you're going to actually get an opportunity to drive with a team at a special event, whether it's a 12, 24, or a 6 hour. So all these sorts of things will help you learn in future. And they're not a negative observation, Toddy.
No, definitely
this is
not.
just what happens, and it's like this is a lot of people who've been successful in these cars have not jumped in them straight away. They've gone down the pathway to learn them. So it's
100%. Like I spent a lot of time in on my rookie season in the GT4, just because I'd spent a lot of time in other titles on the GT3, but then you come to iRacing and you're like, actually no, this is real crazy racing. It's like you have to spend some time in those little ones and actually learn those little things. When cars step out and certain cars have a bit of snap oversteer here, or other cars pull really hard into the apex, just letting off the throttle, and other cars just need like pull hard out trail braking to get there. Things like that, and everything, even if they seem like the same class of car and stuff, is so much different to drive.
Oh, it is. And I mean, it's like taking somebody who is driving, so let's say a young racer who's in go-karts or in Formula Fords, and putting them straight into the Red Bull Formula 1 car.
100%.
Like that's the idea here, right? Where normally, if you want to get into F1, you go from go-karts to Formula Ford to, say, a Formula Renault to a Formula 4 to a Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1. So again, the pathways are in place to help people learn these cars. And these cars, as we've said, are incredibly difficult to drive. I can't drive a GTP at the best of times. I attempt it, but it's not always as good as what I can be. I'm a lot more used to the LMP2 or even the LMP3. But again,
one of those cars you drive and you're like, yeah, I feel like that's really fast. And then you drive with like teammates and you're like, how am I like 6 seconds slower than you? Like, what? I don't understand. Why? And you feel like you're fast, and that's the thing you have to really get it, I suppose, over as a driver in these guys, how quick they are and how much grip they have, and how deep you can break into corners, how hard you can get on the throttle, on the exit, etc. But it's such a fine balance. But yeah.
Oh, it is. And and the important thing is as well, when we say these things, don't take them as disheartening. Use it as motivation, and take the tips into consideration, and think, maybe I will give that a go. It's going to take you some time. It's taken everyone time to get used to them. But the benefit of that time will be that you will get some pace out of it, and you'll be a lot more comfortable in the car as well. A couple more comments we've had from Blake Delaney over in the Facebook chat saying, come on, Ty Delaney. So we have had an appearance from the old boy in the chat. Great to have you there, Blake. And then Jack was chiming back in again saying, definitely recommend LMP3. They can be tough under braking, but are a lot of fun. And LMP2 is almost just a GTP without hybrid and a great stepping stone. Exactly. So I love the LMP3.
Blake just felt a disturbance in the force or something, didn't he?
he's like Beetlejuice, who mentioned his name 3 times and he shows up. Like, he just rocks up. But yeah, definitely, I agree with Jackals there. I love the LMP3. I don't know if you had a chance to drive it, Toddy, but it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And
They are so much fun, but it's just like, oh wow, this is a different level. Oh, Callan Hodgins has had a bit of a slide off there behind the safety car, but he hasn't been into the wall, just kept it away from it. But yeah, definitely, there's so much fun. But as I was saying, it's just like the more you drive, and you're like, oh man, I can brake like heaps clearer into that corner, and then it's just like, oh wow. And then when you start to realize how hard you can drive them, that's what my freak out point was a bit. I'm like, wow, do you literally have to drive them on this limit all the time? I'm not sure if I can do an enduro in these things. Like, I can do a short race, but enduro, I'll be like, nah, man. Like, I sweat hard enough in a GT3 car and an enduro, let alone this thing, man. It's so much work. It doesn't seem like that much work. It's so much work.
Oh, it is. So majority of the field as well has actually come into the pit lane now at this stage in time. Brad Anderson's had a moment out at the bus stop, managed to not hit the wall, so he will keep on going, but he will drop back down to the back of the field. So as it stands at this moment in time, we've had a pit stop from everyone but the top 4 cars in GTP, as well as Brad Anderson. Luke Crumb's dropping, and it's because he's had an incident in the background. Unfortunately,
was that contact, or was it just?
I think it may have been. I think Brad Anderson's also been involved, possibly. Check it out here. So Brad's had an incident here. What's he done? Oh, has he ran it wide? He has. Oh, and it's so easy to do there. Oh no, Brad. Not what you want.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow, they did so well to get around him. Oh, it's so blind round there too. You would never know it until you get up the crest of the hill.
That was a real thread the needle moment from them. Like, that was absolutely insane. I think maybe this was where Crummy did it. So Newlands came past him. Oh, and he had a big balk. He had a big
ultra respect for him to hold on the brakes though, because wow. You know, if you're not holding on the brakes there, even though he was in the worst position in the world you could ever want to be, it takes a lot of nuts to be able to sit there and go, no, just hold here, because even though I'm over just over the crest of a blind corner, people will see you if you'll just hold there, but people will make crazy decisions if you look like you're moving. So yeah.
So you can see now both Grotch and Hasler far out in the lead. 3 seconds is the gap back to Ty Delaney off the back of P2 and Hasler. So the young fella's back up there, but he does need a pit stop in this race. Maguire has done a pit stop. He also mentioned to us last week that he is committed to this BMW for this season. He will not be committing, he will not be doing a car change. That was Josh King off in the background there, just running it wide. Did well not to hit the wall. We saw Frame go off there earlier, and he just wasn't able to get it pulled up. So fair effort from
It is an easy place to do it because you get a bit excited around that spot as well, and you feel there is quite a bit of space on this track to be able to use as well. And that's what kind of puts you off sometimes. You're like, oh, I might just push it a little bit more on this spot, this lap, and then, yeah, I don't have enough brakes for that. It's just such a great track to be racing on. Oh, Ty Delaney. Oh no, sorry, Adam Simpson. I didn't recognise the purple wheels. I should recognise that.
I know.
Adam Simpson, I'm used to him having the purple highlight colours, but it looks like the Fishy Boys have just gone to the one livery and then just changing their accent colours of their wheels now.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what
makes
they're
it
doing.
harder for us in comms, but oh, anyway.
That's what they're doing on these cars. I know in the V8s they still do their separate highlight colours.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
I suppose maybe it's just to save them time, but yeah, so a couple of drivers are out of proceedings at the moment. Luke Crum, I believe, is out of the race. Brad Anderson is back out on track to continue going. go back, though, to the GTD cars. We can see a heavily intensive battle here with Ireland and Jones trying to bring as much fire as they can onto the back of Josh Houghton. One thing I can say as well is I believe Ben Faulkner is actually out of the race. So the championship leader has actually pulled out after, I believe something may have happened on lap 9. The Life of Aaron saying, is this a meme race? No, it's not a meme race at all. It's just people are struggling out there. They're pushing hard. These guys are some of the best GT and prototype racers in Australia, and they're pushing ultra hard, and some of them are just making mistakes out there from getting into tight battles. I mean, their times are that close. Oh, we can see that was Ireland off the back of his teammate.
Oh, he has too. He's just come off track hard there. That's not nice at all.
See as well, Mark Cochran's actually done his car change for this season as well. He's moved into the Porsche. He was formerly in the Ferrari. So he has now made the change over to the Porker.
And he's definitely worth watching because this guy's got some serious pace in a lot of different cars. I think he's a Doug Gowans in training, to be honest. He's one that's just consistent, and the more he learns cars, he's not the sort of dude that just jumps in a car and just is not good at it, I suppose. If you know what I mean? Cochran kind of seems to be driving a lot of cars and seems to have a lot of talent in a lot of cars, so big ups to him. Oh, as I just say, commentator curse, it looks like Mr. Gowans has had a bit of a crash there at the back, at the front, I think.
Let's see what's happened to him. So he's already down the order. He's coming up to that corner where we saw Frame. Oh no, it's at the bus stop. He's jumped the curb. Oh!
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Just that curb, that front curb is so brutal. And if you hit it wrong, it's like a jump. It literally is like a kicker. It's crazy.
I believe they have let him just tow back to pits there. So no safety car out on track at this stage. We're edging closer and closer to no more safety cars in this race. Once we hit 40 minutes with 5 minutes to go, we do not have any more safety cars happen. I think maybe race control know if they keep bunching up the field, it's, well, number one, it could give an advantage to the guys who have actually not pit, because it could mean they could actually save enough to get home. But what it could also mean is we could actually get more and more incidents towards the end of the race. So I think they're just keeping that in mind, that we've had it already twice in this one. He was off the track. He wasn't in a dangerous position that he could just tow back safely. So I think that's race control's mentality off the back of that one, if I was to hazard a guess. We can see, though, there is quite a spread at the moment, Toddy, between a lot of the drivers. I mean, Grotch and Hasler are together on track, and then Jones and Houghton are still battling it out hard. They got the GTP of Anderson in between them. He's just trying to keep it clean. He's struggling through this last section of track and doesn't want to push too hard to get past
It's great to be in that Porsche behind him, just to be able to try and use some of that tow. But then that said as well, you get, as you're saying as well, you get heaps of aero wash from those when you're behind a prototype car and you're in a GTD car. When you're in that prototype car and you're in a GTD car, you get a bunch of aero wash because of all their downforce and all the rest of it. So I've been a victim in the past. You try to follow them behind, you're like, yeah, because they're heaps faster than me, I should be able to use their draft to my advantage. But you can down the straights and everything, but just be very wary if they're in behind them in that draft zone when you're in the braking zone, or things can get pretty tasty if you don't quite judge it right.
I just saw there Jones gained a bit of time through the bus stop on Houghton ahead. This is the battle for P3 on the road for the GTD class. So this is for the final podium position. Dyson leads to Greathead to Houghton to Jones to Cochrane. That's the 5. Hodgkinson, Leake are the last 2 GTD cars out on track. Island, Kylie, Faulkner, Barber, Brook out of proceedings at this stage in time. If we move up to the GTP class, it's currently Brandon Grotch who leads the way to Hazlitt, Delaney, to McGuire, to Davis. That's the 5. Simpson, King, McCartan, Newens, Anderson, that's the 10. Gowans and Crum out of proceedings at the moment. So as well as Patrick Frame a bit further down the order. And Keegan Caldwell, he lasted that first lap. That first lap incident was enough for him. He pulled out of the race. Yeah, we know, Crummy. We know you died. Our hearts absolutely broke for you, as did the rest of the Crumb Dog millionaires who follow you. Not only in this series or the V8s, but also in the 8.6s as well. So Our heart goes out to you, mate, to lose out at that point in time. 5 minutes to go, Toddy. No more safety cars in this one now, so it's going to be a straight run home. Can these top two make it without a pit stop at this point in time?
Oh, 100%. I think we've been working together enough. But I haven't seen any kind of like swap between them. I thought they might have, because they've got enough pace out in front of these guys, I thought they would have kind of Indian filed it a little bit, for an old school term, you know, like sort of swap positions, so then we make sure Grosh is going to make sure he's getting us over the line, but he's looking pretty confident, like he's not letting off, like he's pushing pretty hard, so it doesn't seem like either of them are short shifting whatsoever. But Hasler's definitely seems like Grosh might be getting to a different level here, and as they're getting through the pack and all the rest, but yes, Hasler's keeping on the back of him, but it looks like Grosh might want to just kind of not shake him off, but kind of build enough distance to maybe in this last 5 minutes to exert his authority in the team, maybe.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm not 100% sure where they both sit in the order of the championship. I know Grosh has missed a couple of rounds. I think Hasler missed the first round, but he's been here ever since the second, so the spread of the championship may be closer between them than we possibly think. Ty Delaney, though, what a run he's had. P3 on the road at the moment, Toddy. 4.5 seconds back. He's trying to save like nobody's business. He was about 3 seconds off them a bit earlier in the lap. So he's just trying to conserve, and just get home on a no stop here. 3 minutes left in the session. We'd argue probably 2 more laps, I reckon. And then it's going to be checkered flag flying. So, you know, we could be on for
Ty's.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I was just about to say, like, Ty's restart on that last safety car was literally his secret. Then you could see him hovering in between him, making sure he's keeping his temperature of his tyres up. Very, very smart, old school kind of, you know, his dad's like, keep your tyres warm. I'm sure Blake's in the background going, keep your tyres warm, and be on for a podium here. And he has just slotted himself up there really nicely, kept it. Absolutely just pushing hard. I'm glad to see that Adam Simpson in 5th there is kept that as well after that earlier incident.
I think that comes down to that consistency that we spoke about, you know. He stayed out of trouble since that early incident, and others have gone into trouble, and he's just managed to pick up the pieces of it and gone up to this point.
Yeah, 100%. And I think with the GTP and the GTD races as well, you can kind of, if you're in that prototype car, you can kind of use those GT cars behind you to kind of bridge gaps between people as well, if you're smart enough about your racing, you know. And it's a really good way of being able to, if you can come across that and you're in a battle with someone behind you, you can kind of break their toe through having a GT car in between you guys and stuff like that. So there's so much like inner thinking that everyone goes into all these races, especially these multi-class races. But I love them. Oh, he's into the pits. Here we go. Wow.
So Simpson's in for his first stop of the race. King is also in for his first stop. So does it mean now that Delaney, Grosh and Hasler may not be able to make the end? We'll have to wait and see. This is
a bit of clenching in the old Sims at the moment, I think.
Oh, for sure. Greg Leake has had an incident off the exit of the pits. Oh, just at turn 2. Oh no, it's after the bus stop. What's he done?
It doesn't look too ruined though, that car. So
it doesn't. It's I think he's lucky for that one.
It's misleading though, isn't it?
He's come around that long right hand of the toe of the boot. Oh, and that, you know what that is right there? That is the Lamborghini rear engine syndrome in effect right there.
Yeah.
Just the rear end too heavy.
Realising he had too much mid-corner speed, even though he wanted to give it up, and then as soon as you stomp on the brake too hard on that thing, it just, it goes completely sideways. You can't stomp on it. You have to treat it like a lady, but then drive it like a bull. It's weird. Yeah.
I've just noticed as well that Grosh is now P2 behind Hasler. I know he's been behind the whole time for the last couple of laps, but maybe that's the plan for Hasler to get the better run in the championship over Grosh at this point.
So was that a pit, or was it he's just lit? No, I think he's pit, or is he has? No.
Grosh has stayed out. Maguire's now past Delaney. He's still going though. So
What's happened there?
I don't know. Why is he past Delaney? Let's get up on
Someone
screen.
pitted in
McCartan's
between
also
that.
in. It's McCartan who's coming in.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I reckon Ty's letting him go because he knows that he may need to pit.
Oh,
Possibly. Or maybe he knows that Troy has the better run at the championship.
I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of people's gambles.
Oh my
not
God,
pay
he
off.
is full clutch in. He is full clutch in at the
Oh,
moment.
he is full clutch in, full disengaged corner. That's Blake. No, his dad is a master of fuel saving. Oh mate, he's. I've even talked to his teammates. Like Blake's teammates in the Fishy team just go, nah man. Like people freak out because he's like a master. He'll turn his engine off to save
I don't
certain parts. It's
I don't want to
crazy.
just cut in, but Grosh has just let Maguire pass because he was also full clutch in down the back straight. Hasler's going to come around the final corner. He's only just going to make it. The checkered flag is out. It is Hasler in P1 here tonight for Watkins Glen. Maguire after the early stop at the second safety car. He gets it into P2. Grosh is barely going to make it here to the line. He's going to cop.
Oh, get there. Oh, he saved his dignity.
Grosh, if he's running out of fuel, he's going to cop a rear of grid for next week because he's not going to be able to make it back around to the pit entry.
Oh,
so
yeah.
even though he's copped the podium here tonight, Delaney's come home P4. He could be in the same boat. Davis comes home P5. Simpson will come home in P6 as he comes around the final corner. So he had to pit. He wouldn't have made it otherwise. It was very patient. Oh, there's been contact with McCartan and Newens. That was absolutely massive. Just quickly here, Dyson comes across home. P1 for the GTDs. Great head P2. Houghton's going to come home in P3. Let's show you what's happened here with Newens and McCartan at the back of this one. So Leakey had pulled it up. Oh, McCartan wasn't ready for him.
Oh, where was he going though? But he got that the inside corner wheel, inside left wheel. It catches on the outside curb. So he was a passenger at that point, and then that's just happened. He made a poor decision on where he was going in the first place. He was a passenger.
Carrying way too much speed. That was what it was.
Yeah, and it just launches off that curb, especially in these very, very low cars and very light cars. Have a lot of downforce unless you get them airborne a little bit, and then they become the opposite. They become a plane wing. As we saw, Mark Webber in 1999?
Yeah, so Delaney's had to pull it up, so he's not making it back. Grosh somehow, I don't know how he's doing this, he's making it back, if it's going to kill him or not. But that is the end of our race here tonight. What a hectic one it was. We'll bring up our provisional results as they stand.
We knew it was going to be that way.
We knew.
That's a good track.
It's so good. We'll bring up our provisional results as they stand. Here are the GTD race results for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Dyson will come home P1 for DPR ahead of Lewis Greathead from Vermilion Motorsports and his teammate Josh Houghton in P3 to continue Vermilion's run of double podiums over the last couple of weeks. Ryan Jones will then come home in P4 for DPR ahead of 5th placed Mark Cochran out of Apex Esports League. Callan Hodgson will then come home in P6 for CXR with Greg Leake 2 laps down but in P7. Chris Island 6 laps down the leaders in P8. John O'Kiley 7 laps down in P9. Benjamin Brook, Ben Faulkner and Greg Barber just were little struggle bugs out there here tonight. For the GTP class, it will be Scott Hasler out of P1 for Frog Leap Juice Racing. He'll finish ahead of Troy Maguire in P2 for Fishy Motorsports and Brandon Grosh in P3 for Frog Leap Juice Racing. P4 will then go to Young Gun Ty Delaney ahead of Ash Davis in P5 with Adam Simpson coming home in P6. Josh King will then come home in P7 ahead of Shane Newens and Stefan McCartan, who had an absolute firework car crash at the final corner, at the final hour of the race in P8 and P9. Brad Anderson will then come home in P10. Doug Gowans then comes home P11 ahead of Luke Crum, Patrick Frame and Keegan Caldwell, who, again, they just had some character-building races here tonight between them all. But what a race it was, Toddy. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, definitely. I don't envy some of the race control time that will be going on right now about things, little things and all the rest of it. But a lot of them seem like self-made mistakes, which is pretty awesome. Well, as we watch this epic burnout of this prototype car.
He's just showing off that he had enough fuel to do one.
Yeah, how good is that? That is so good. It's probably Dad in the background going, "Now show off." Yeah, all right, Dad. Sweet as.
No, that's Troy who's doing it. It's not Ty.
Oh,
it's
Troy. Yeah, sorry. Oh, now he's got the O2 in his car. Sorry, yeah. True. Yeah, because then, yeah. But absolutely awesome. Sorry if I've been a bit rusty and etc. Just getting back into the groove. But I miss it so much. It's just been such an amazing kind of race, and it's great with the multi-class as well. I hope you guys absolutely loved it because, IMSA is one of my favorite things to race. Whether it's the IMSA GT4s or GT3s, etc. Awesome to watch in real life as well, and it's just it's great to have the same sort of series as a Shadow Series to be able to see all our awesome characters and all our awesome races out there doing amazing things, and it's so much of an effort from everybody. And I've just kind of I did the first few seasons and all the rest of it, and just sat back and watched all the streams and everything, and watched everyone improve. So it's been amazing. So, yeah.
So we'll wait for our podium finishers to hop into the green room. We have already got Brendan Grotch and Scott Hasler in there, so we might as well bring them in together, being that they are teammates. We'll chat to them just quickly. Both Brandon and Scotty in here with us now. Brandon, what happened with the fuel strategy at the end there? You let go of the 1-2 finish.
Well, to paint the picture, I crossed the finish line with 0.6 litres of fuel.
Oh.
So I was running empty. I don't know how Scott had an extra 2 litres than me, but what happened?
600 mil should have been enough, right?
I mean, maybe, but I also had to think about the cooldown lap. I don't really want to start from the back next week.
No, that's true.
I didn't realise that. I'm a bit new back to it, I suppose. And as he said it, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting, and that changes things. 'Cause you don't not only just have to get over the line, then you actually have to get back to the pits also.
Yeah,
Very interesting, yeah.
Don't know if he's caught it at all, but it was a very slow cooldown lap.
Oh, we caught a portion of it, and yeah, we could tell that you were spluttering back to the start-finish line. I mean,
but those last 2 laps, you were clutching a lot, so.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we know that it was a tough but hectic race out there. How was it from both of your point of views? I suppose starting with you, Brandon. I mean, you guys led the way all race. You both had the pace out there as well, but there was some absolutely just like chaotic incidents that happened, and you guys did incredibly well to be able to pull away from the field and kind of get away from it. But how was those safety cars stacking up and incidents stacking up for other drivers? How did that affect your mindset at the front of the field and your plan to get to the end of the race, and then come to the plan at the end of the race to say, hey, we could do this on a no stop if we can fuel save it? I mean, what was kind of the processes there?
It definitely made it a lot harder. Like, we had a little plan in our head as we started the race, but then the first safety car happened and we sort of were in 2 minds, and then the second one happened and Scott's like, oh, we're making it now. And in my mind, I thought, hey, I don't really need to do much here. But, yeah, that sort of threw the strategy out a little bit. But even coming into this race, I was not feeling confident at all, because that bus stop and the officials killed me 3 times out of 3 races. And I know I messaged Scott quite a lot about my disgust.
Yeah, that's
towards
not a
the
good
bus
run rate, eh? Not a nice run rate when you do it in officials. Yeah, and it's brutal, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Scott actually got me to start trying the bus stop without jumping the curb. It took me a little while, but eventually I got there and it worked out really well. So thank you to him for that.
So I guess you owe Scott a 6-pack at least for giving you a bus pass to get through there here tonight.
You gotta pay for your bus pass somehow.
Yeah. But I still think, I mean, yeah, we saw the pace you both had in qualifying. Obviously, off the bat, Brandon, I mean, you copped a low, like a high 27, and it was like, well, the pace has already been set here. We know that you guys have been strong all season. What's the feeling going into kind of our final race here in the US for this little triple header next week at Daytona? Obviously, a lot of drivers have done a lot of laps around there. What's your thought process going into that race, and where are you kind of looking to find some time at that track if you're not quite up to pace yet?
For me, Daytona is going to be difficult because the cars are a lot closer on that track, and I don't think the Acura is outright quickest. And as you said, a lot of people, especially recently, have been doing a lot of laps of that track, so it's going to be close. And then the Nordschleife, I reckon Scott and I will do pretty well there. We're both comfortable at the track. Acura is a quick car there. And then Spa, got no idea about Spa. No clue.
It's a real unknown, isn't it? Well, Scott, of course, you took the win here tonight. We know that we've seen you have your moments up and down this season, but how does it feel to come home, get the P1 out here at Watkins, and to somewhat bring Brandon with you at least onto the podium here tonight?
Yeah, it's good to at least, Brandon managed to snag third, but it does feel like a little bit of a lucky one. I think Brandon probably had the slight edge on me for pace today. And I just, for whatever reason, I guess just being in the draft for a lot of the race, and I might have done a little bit more clutching under the safety car and just managed to eke out another, it was about 2 litres difference in the end that managed to make the difference. It's not quite the same as some other wins where you've really given it your all. It feels like it kind of just it was a little bit lucky, but still a win's a win. It's still always good.
So how are you feeling going into Daytona next week? Obviously, we mentioned how much people have been driving around there recently, and kind of it's pretty much one of the gemstones for these kinds of cars to be racing around alongside the likes of like Lamore and Sebring and others alike. I mean, how's that sort of feeling coming into it? And also, I meant to ask Brandon this as well. Are you guys kind of planning a car change coming up at the sort of latter half of this season as well?
So definitely keen for Daytona. It is, everyone's done plenty of laps there, so you don't really feel like you're going to get an advantage out of knowing the track really well, because it's just everyone's done plenty of running. I'm not sure. As Brandon was kind of saying, I don't know how the Acura is going to exactly stack up, but it's hopefully there or thereabouts. And then I think it should be fairly solid at Nords, and then we'll see what happens with Spa. We don't have any sets or anything for there, so it's a bit of a wild card. We'll just have to see what happens when we get there, and whether we want to stick with the Acura all season. It's nice to have a bit of a mystery.
Well, I guess
it definitely separates the boys from the men, doesn't it? That track.
It does for sure. And look, setup building is not really one of my strengths, so that'll be a bit of a challenge as well to see if we can make something from another track work. So need a little bit more preparation for that one, but see what happens.
Well, I suppose one benefit that we have got coming up towards the end of the season is second last round being Sebring. Obviously, the 12 hours in a couple of weeks. Might be in a similar situation to Daytona, where a lot of people are going to get a lot of laps there. They're going to get up to pace fairly quickly. What I think it'll give us will be a great race, which I think Daytona will give us as well next week. This run this far this season for both of you has been absolutely fantastic. It's been great to see both of you working together, but also working against each other sometimes. I'm excited for the end of this season. Boys, I think you guys have done very, very well. Let us know who's giving you the support out there. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well? If whoever wants to give us the sponsors, is up to you, boys. But congrats on your P1 and your P3 here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Brandon.
I think last time I handed the sponsors over to Scott, so I think it's only right I take them this time.
Go for it.
I'd like to thank all of our sponsors at Frog Leap Juice Racing, in Juice Energy, Simrigs.com, Racecraft Simulations, Sudspeed Gloves, and the Pet Dog Company. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Simrigs.com, because they've recently helped me out massively with sourcing a triple screen mount that they no longer sell. So I'm very happy they managed to do that for me. Hopefully in the near future I'll have triples.
Very good. Well, Scott, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to as well?
Look, just all the boys at Frog Leap. It's always great fun hanging in the voice chat, and yeah, another great Friday night.
Where was Dodsey? I didn't see him out there.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Normally you'll send a message if he's away, but I guess he must have been preoccupied with something.
Oh, clearly Scott doesn't read the chats. He's actually at a football practice match this afternoon, so he hasn't been able to make it. Should be back next week, hopefully.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming and have a chat to us, boys. Really appreciate it. Congratulations once again on another win and another double podium. Best of luck next time out at Daytona. And if we don't speak to you, best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, fellas.
Well, Toddy, it was good to hear from our GTP winner and third place here tonight.
Yeah, fantastic.
I reckon we bring in our GTD winner in Andrew Dyson. We haven't got any other GTDs in there, so it's only Andrew. Andrew, the one and only GTD driver, gracing us with his presence here tonight. You're just going about winning ways at the moment, aren't you? You're really flying the flag for DPR in whatever you drive, and yeah, you're showing the rest of the boys up, aren't you?
I suppose. I mean, I can't. Last week in the supercars, I'd probably say Daz was faster than me. He just didn't get a quality lap in, and he didn't have much practice either, so he should have beaten me quite convincingly. But yeah, tonight it should have been a pretty close race amongst all things. But just the way the traffic sort of panned out, Lewis and I were sort of split up a little bit. So still, I mean, there's one of those races where you're not really racing wheel to wheel, but there's sort of like a gap, and you're always watching it, and it's not really changing. So it was one of those sort of close races.
Yeah, until the safety car comes out, right?
Yeah, then it closes again, and then you're back to sort of watching the gap, just a different number.
Yeah.
Now I know that you've been doing your pre-qual for Scops these last 2 days. How confident are you that you're actually A, going to make the grid for Sunday, but B, how your pace is actually going for it as well?
Jeez, so last night I ran a few laps and didn't think I was that great really in the grand scheme of things, like without sort of disrespecting anybody. I thought I probably didn't do too good a job, but I was happy to be sort of maybe 2/10 off of a whole bunch of spots forward. So that was pretty good. Then Daz jumped in to a session tonight. He had a bit of a practice and played with some, that is Darren Lobb, played with some settings for me, and he's already gone faster than me, so I need to at least do as good as him. But if I can do as good as what Daz has done, I should be able to get in.
Well, mate, I mean, I know it was a tough one for you out there tonight. How are you feeling going into Daytona next week, being with how many laps people have done around there recently, and how close it could possibly be for both classes?
Yeah, it is one of those tracks where everyone does a lot of laps, isn't it? So should be similar to this sort of circuit, because it is basically a big sort of drafty sort of circuit. And I think the traffic for GTDs will come into play. Could split up some guys and break up draft chains and things like that. So it'll be a close one all around, I think, no matter what, really.
Very good, mate. Well, thanks for coming to have a chat to us here tonight, Daiso. Let us know who's giving you support out there, mate. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well?
Yeah, I'll just say a quick thanks to the boys for jumping in for a race. Thanks to all the guys for jumping in actually tonight. So, and I'll make a quick shout out to Simix.com for getting behind myself and the team, and South Wellington Horse, they get behind us as well. All the guys who sponsored the league, SRW, and you guys for putting together the broadcast, and everyone else who jumps in and makes a thing of it. So appreciate it.
Very good, mate. Well, thanks for coming and have a chat to us. Best of luck for Scops this Sunday night if you are competing, and if not, best of luck in SRW if you're able to make that one. But I'm sure you'll be in Scops anyway, mate. But best of luck regardless.
Yeah, we'll see. I didn't realise I actually double booked myself until this week, but yeah, I'll jump in between both series for sure.
Very good, mate.
Just on a side note, that illustrious beard needs to be reflected on that helmet, I think. On the bottom of that helmet, just an illustrious beard helmet or something.
You'd be disappointed. I actually don't have a beard anymore, so I'm kind of lying.
Oh, wow. You need to change it. That's quite illustrious, though. Just look at your profile picture there. So
yeah, you can tell I'm proud of it. It's still there.
Yeah, nice.
I miss it, man. But anyway.
That's all right. You can race fast. Doesn't matter if you have a weak chin.
All right, mate. Thanks for coming to have a chat to us, and best of luck next time out.
See you guys. Cheers.
I just loved it, Andrew.
Well, Toddy, what a race it was tonight. I mean,
Oh,
not only the
mate.
race, but just what an event that came about from this.
And I was just, oh, it's so awesome to come back to it and actually be at Watkins Glen and everything. I was just like, I was looking over it earlier this week and Steve was like, oh, you know, because I was supposed to be producing for Wednesday and Thursday nights this week, this season, but missed out because of I had to be away from my brother's wedding and stuff like that, which is a better decision anyway. But kind of coming into this now and just like, yeah, this is so awesome, man. Like how far it's come and how far we've come with Sim Racing World. It's just massive, and it's so exciting to see this racing and just like come back to Watkins Glen and just see the craziness and I felt like, you know, we've both obviously raced around here quite a few times, and I don't think it was too much of a commentator's curse tonight. I think it was just things that naturally happen around Watkins Glen, right? You know, high downforce, you know, cars like the prototypes going over those curbs, etc., etc., etc. It's just been really, really exciting, and hopefully I can come back and be here and commentate a bit more this season and for the coming seasons. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an unkept secret, but it's not official just yet. We are hoping to bring in Carrera Cups at some point, and I've spoken to Steve at length that we should run them on the Sunday afternoon prior to the Pro-Am, the Supercars Pro-Am, because then it's like an actual Supercars event, you know, where you have like the
it's a masterstroke.
You know,
yes,
and you have that happen there. You either have them run at the same track, or you have them run the official circuit for the next week, or the week before, whatever it is.
100%. And those 992s is what I've been using to be able to try to get better at the V8 Supercars, because I just can't get them with the whole no traction control and no ABS, etc., etc., etc. Even though I'm used to it, the V8's a totally different beast. But like that Porsche's kind of like a cup car is like halfway there, if you know what I mean, or 3/4 the way there. It's just as temperamental. It's so hard to drive. But if you get the groove and you get your tyres right and you get your setup right, it's so rewarding to drive.
Well, it's almost like if you were to look at kind of like a tree branching out, if the tree trunk is the cup car, it then branches out to both supercars or out to GT racing, you know?
Yeah, and then onto, you know, your formula racing, open wheel racing as well, but that kind of folds into other parts of it as well. But I kind of find I've been wanting to always get really good at the V8 supercars, and I've used the 992 and the F3s to be able to try and learn the muscle memory of the braking to get there better, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, but thank you to everyone who has joined us here tonight. Thank you for being here with us for the Warren & Brown Tools IMSA Shadow Series. This will bring an end to our show here tonight. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we end tonight's show. Big thank you goes out to all of our series sponsors: Warren & Brown Tools, Shannon's Insurance, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Scenery, Motorsport Australia, and Grim Industries. If you could, please, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and click the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go racing across all six nights. Exactly right, Toddy. Ding, ding, ding. So you are notified across all 6 nights of the week that we go racing, including the Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Series, the Wednesday night Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR8 6 Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series, the Friday night Warren & Brown IMSA Shadow Series, which we saw here tonight, the Sunday night Warren & Brown V8 Supercars Pro-Am, and then rounding out our racing week, Monday night Motorsport Australia Formula V Nationals, which is a official Motorsport Australia series as well. Thank you for bringing us into your homes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Until next time, we will see you here on SRWtv. I've been Hamish Monroe. Alongside me has been Todd Thorburn. This has been the Warren & Brown Tools.
Legends, keep safe.
This has been the Warren & Brown Tools IMSA Shadow Series, round number 5 out of Watkins Glen. And until next time, we'll see you Sunday night for the V8 Supercars Pro-Am. But until then, bye for now.
clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.